Welcome to the show, by the way. I was excited to talk to you about Daisies because, it's a song about keeping your dreams on track. You have a certain way you're going, and you're going to try and keep it going no matter what people say. And I was thinking about the pandemic and how it's affecting dreams of people right now. People had plans, people had dreams, people had a course, and it's sort of stopped. So I wonder how you're listening to the song now through the lens of the pandemic.
Well, I think what it did is it definitely brought great pause to everyone. And in some ways, I've been saying that like your worst demons showed up at your front door, knocked on your door and said, "Hey, do you want to hold hands for 3 months? Why don't you face me? You can't run from me now. You have nowhere to go. You have absolutely nowhere to go. So let's have a chat." And it was a, and it has been, look, it's been an opportunity. Obviously, it's been incredibly overwhelming and intense and, a nightmare for some. It's been so many different levels of emotions, right? But it has been, everything is a yin or a yang. Everything is duality in life. And you can see some positive in horrible, horrible situations if you choose to. That's not just being like as an insane optimist. It's like there is a choice. That's the free will here. But Daisies, for me, initially it was just kind of the commentary about, when I wrote it, it was like the commentary on how people really like they think you're crazy, they think you're out of your mind, or like, they laugh at you or the size of your dreams, or they go, "Oh, I'm not sure you can do that. You're a woman, or you're a person of color, or you're, you come from a different socioeconomic background or what have you. So of course you'll never be able to be that. You have to, blah, blah, blah." But what it did in the pandemic is that it gave pause, and that I feel like a lot of people were like, "Oh, I really put a lot of dreams on the shelf and thought I could easily I could just like access them whenever I wanted to. Mm-hmm. And I can't now. So by golly, when I get out of this thing, I'm going to go for it." And it's almost like I'm in training. Now I'm in dream training. And finally, when I get back on the track, I'm not going to take things for granted again.
I'm happy you mentioned that the song is about, in some ways being told you can't do things and then sort of proving that you can. And it reminds me of a lot of the songs you've written that I never really listened to in that way when I was getting ready for this interview. And I was thinking about Firework, and I was thinking about Roar, and I was thinking about this song. Are you singing to yourself as well?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, all those songs are cousins. And the truth of the matter is like when I'm writing those songs, I'm in the worst place of my life.
Is that so?
It's not like I'm like celebrating, and by celebrating I write a song. It's like something comes over me and kind of writes the song, like my soul is the ghostwriter. It says, "All right, I'm going to take over because obviously you can't function anymore. You're too depressed, or you're too in your head, or blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to try and re-inspire you with a little nugget of hope through a message, through a song." So yeah, I mean, I turn to music as my solace and as my, to speak my language of my heart and my soul, especially when I'm in those dark times. But I'm happy to be synonymous with, messages of hope. And I think I write these songs that are hopeful because I first and foremost need the hope.
It's not easy, though.
I'm not going to get out of bed.
But it's not easy. I mean, you said something about that earlier when you were saying that, it's not about being relentlessly optimistic. It's about, there's a duality and we have choices we want to make. But, hope is not something that comes easy to people. And, even now, it's like I'm someone who likes to push away cynicism as much as I possibly can.
Sure.
But it's there. Like, was it always there? Was there a moment where you realized hope had a place in your heart, or hope had a place in your life?
Yeah, I think hope has always been an option for me, to think about. I think because of my relationship with God and with something bigger than me. in that, like, you know, if I'm the only one controlling my destiny, of course it's going to be like, I'm going to drive it into the ground. But my hope is that something bigger than me created me for a purpose and created me for a reason, and that I'm not disposable, and that, you know, every person that's been created has a purpose. I mean, I like to get into it so deeply, like, one of the things that confirms it for me is, like, if we weren't, you know, all so individual or unique or truly somewhat special, why the hell do we have all different fingerprints? I know that's some ancient aliens right there, but like 7.5 billion people have a different fingerprint, all of us. Like, we have a lot of the same genes, but we all have a different fingerprint. Like, there's some like sacred geometry there. There's some like math that is insane, Newton, Einstein, God, like, that is going on, that is bigger than me. And I'm grateful that it's bigger than me, because it seems like it has my best interest.
It is interesting to hear you say that. And please know that we don't have to talk about this, but I know that coming from an evangelical background the way that you did, you grew up in a very religious household, and I've read you talk about how the challenges involved in that, and I've also read you talk about the work you've been doing now with your family on that. A lot of people in your situation would not find their way back to God. A lot of people in your situation would not find their way, or maybe find a way of resenting that. It's interesting to me that you found your way back to it, or you found another path up the mountain, you know.
Well, God to me is not an old, you know, white dude with a beard on a throne.
Doesn't look like Leon Russell, with the big hair, and
no, sorry. I mean, God is more than human. God does not have that human form. I mean, it's an energy. It's not as definable as we'd like to think in our small, you know, 2%, 3% capacity brains. So it's much bigger than me. That's all I know, is that it's bigger than me, and I'm grateful for it.
You've been outspoken about mental health recently, and when I was getting ready to look at the record, I heard you say the new record is about finding your smile again. I wonder if you could tell me what you mean by that.
It's just, you know, I lost my smile. I don't know if my smile was ever fully, like, authentically mine. But I was riding on the high of a smile for a long time, which was, you know, the validation and love and admiration from the outside world. And then that shifted, because, like, my career was on this trajectory where it was going up, 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 up. And then I had, like, the smallest shift. It wasn't like that huge, maybe from an outside perspective, but for me it was seismic. And it was like, you know, they say if a ship is 1 degree off from their navigation, they'll land on like a different continent sometimes.
So you're saying that things were going and going and going, and then they just moved ever so slightly, perhaps the point of just full 90-degree trajectory, and it kind of freaked you out.
Yeah, more than slightly, but they moved, and it was the first time to feel that. And I had built so much I had given so much out, and it literally, like, kind of broke me in half. I think I had broken up with my boyfriend, who's now my baby daddy to be. And then I was, like, excited about flying high off of the next record, and the record didn't get me high anymore. You know, like, it didn't make me excited. Well, the validation didn't get me high. And so, like, I just crashed. And it was a good crash. It was like a necessary brokenness. Like, it was so important for me to be broken so that I could find my wholeness in a whole different way, and be, you know, more dimensional than just, like, living my life like a thirsty pop star all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a type of gratitude that not everybody gets. You know, when things don't go the way you want, to find gratitude, and that takes something. I think I have time for one more question, if you can handle it. Teenage Dream came out 10 years ago, and that kind of caught me off guard. And what a big record it was. Not to mention Firework, which I mentioned before, but, you know, nominated for 6 Grammys, broke all kinds of records and all that. Given everything you're telling me, when you hear those songs, when they come on in the store, if they come on in the bar, if they come on in the car, do you recognize that person? Does it feel like the same person to you?
Yeah, I mean, that person was a little bit more head in the clouds, fantasy land, escapism central, like permanently at Disneyland. So, that still exists with me. Like, I have such an imagination. Like, I love creating worlds, and I do love creating moments of escape and fun and memories. And there's a groundedness now that is there. That was not there then. That was like an ignorance is bliss time.
Yeah.
And it really was. It was like almost like the internet had just kind of started to happen. Social media wasn't in full fledged. And, we weren't in the middle of a pandemic or a revolution. So there was this beautiful ignorance is bliss. And you meet people that still live in that state and you're like, oh my gosh, how lucky are you? But I would rather feel all of these feelings than just be lost in ignorance is bliss, because I think there's deeper feelings when you survive something, or when you live through something, or you live and learn, and it's not just all, a fantasy lifestyle.
That sounds like the definition of gratitude, really. It sounds like, and this sort of what's been following me around this whole interview is that, we say when things don't go your way, you have to find gratitude. When you look back on who you were back then, you were a different person, but you found gratitude for who you are right now and everything you have. It's meaningful, Katy.
Gratitude is probably the thing that saved my life, because if I didn't find that, I would have wallowed in my own sadness and probably just jumped.
Yeah.
But I found the ways to be grateful. And every morning I wake up, it's the first thing I say it's the very first thing I say out loud before I check my phone, because, that's the second thing we all do, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I just wake up and I say, thank you, God, for today. I am grateful in every way. And when things get really, really hard, when I'm in a mood, which I can swing, I just walk around and go, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Even though I'm in a shitty mood, I am grateful. And that's been the light at my end of the tunnel.
They say the louder you scream it, the more grateful you are. I've heard that before. Well, it's been a joy talking to you. And I just want to say, I'm ultimately very grateful, getting ready to do this interview. I went back and listened to a lot of your records, and I just think about all the people who've done their makeup going listening to your music. And I think about all the people who have gone to the best nights of their life, soundtracked by their music. And I don't think we give enough credit to music that makes us feel joy. As much as I do appreciate your music that makes us feel depth, I don't think we give enough credit to music that makes us feel joy. And I'm grateful for it. So nice to talk to you.
Thanks, Tom. You've been a delight. I'll speak with you anytime.